San Bernardino, Newtown, Charleston. These are all names of places that American people came to get familiar with due to guns. In his presidency, Obama has been confronted with more than a dozen high-profile mass shootings. Despite all the tragedies where Americans have come together to blame gun violence, the number of guns in the United States are on the rise.
We have in the United States more than 300 million guns in the hands of private citizens. We have a gun culture.
Gun culture is deeply rooted in America. American attitudes on gun ownership dates back to the 18th century, America's War of Independence, where early Americans used firearms to defend themselves against foreign enemies. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, thus written in the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution. Nowadays, firearms are widely used for self-defense, hunting, and recreational purposes. This is especially true in states with large rural areas where police forces may be insufficient to protect citizens.
We are a gun culture, and until the culture changes, then we will have a lot of ownership of guns.
But guns can really be harmful. Data shows that in 2015, there were 372 mass shootings across the United States, killing 475 people and wounding 1,870. President Obama has called for action once and again to keep firearms out of the hands of the would-be killers. After the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre in 2012, he and the Democrats tried to pass a law that stipulates universal background checks before anyone could purchase a gun.
It's time for Congress to require a universal background check for anyone trying to buy a gun. The law already requires licensed gun dealers to run background checks, and over the last 14 years, that's kept 1.5 million of the wrong people from getting their hands on a gun. But it's hard to enforce that law when as many as 40% of all gun purchases are conducted without a background check. That's not safe, that's not smart, it's not fair to responsible gun buyers or sellers.
His proposal has been vehemently opposed by people from National Rifle Association, or NRA. In their argument, federal studies have shown that persons imprisoned for firearm crimes get firearms mostly through theft, the black market, or family members or friends, and that nearly half of illegally trafficked firearms originate from straw purchasers, people who pass background checks and buy firearms for the criminals. But then again, could universal background check really work in the United States? Many experts are not that positive.
As it is now, you're only background checked if you buy a gun from a licensed dealer at a store. But if you buy it on the secondary market from another person who already has a gun, there's no background checking. Gun owners are an important constituency. They tend to be, many of them, one-issue voters, so they look at just the position of a candidate on gun control, and if somebody is in favor of controls they don't like, they vote against them. So I think gun control is an important political issue.
Reports show that NRA contributed to the campaigns of 50 Republican senators who voted against the latest gun reform legislation late June, making the president's urges even harder to proceed. To strengthen background checks or not, this has also become an acute divergence between the two parties in this election year. While Donald Trump received the early and strong endorsement of the National Rifle Association, Hillary Clinton claims she will fight for common-sense reforms to keep guns away from terrorists, domestic abusers, and other violent criminals.
Well, I think it's both political and legal. The politics is extremely important. If the Democrats controlled Congress and the presidency, they could pass whatever laws they wanted. So then you could pass the law So it wouldn't be political anymore. Then it would be a legal problem of enforcing it and carrying it out.